Welcome to the Harris County ESD 12 Firefighter Physical Agility Test. This test is designed to evaluate the strength, endurance, and agility required to perform essential firefighting tasks. Candidates will be provided mandatory PPE that must be worn during the entirety of the test. This equipment includes a helmet, gloves, bunker coat, and SCBA. Knee pads will be provided as well, as they are recommended but not mandatory to wear. There are 10 total stages in this test. Candidates are not allowed to run in between these stages, but may run safely within their current stage activity. These stages include a dry hose deployment, charged hose deployment, ladder raise, roof walk, attic crawl, roof ventilation, rescue drag, ladder removal and carry, search crawl, and a stair climb with hose bundle. Each candidate must successfully complete all 10 stages in under the time limit of 7 minutes and 3 seconds to demonstrate their readiness for the job and be considered for hire. Stage 1, dry hose deployment. Time will start once the candidate takes the first step across the white line. Candidate will deploy and drag a dry 1 3/4 hose line 150 feet and around 2 obstacles that simulate tight corners. It is required to keep at least one hand on the nozzle at all times. Once the candidate reaches the end of the event and is completed successfully, the nozzle must be placed in the designated area and then walk to the next stage. Stage 2, charged hose deployment. Candidate will deploy and drag a charged 100-foot 1 3/4 hose line. Candidate will begin to deploy the hose line through a simulated doorway into 2 designated areas that are marked on the ground that extend past the second doorway to make it easier to deploy through the next doorway. Candidate must step 1 foot in both designated marked areas before proceeding through the second simulated doorway. Once through the second doorway, the candidate must stoop lower and lower in avoiding the crossbars while still deploying the hose line. This simulates deploying a charged line through a smoky and hot environment. The candidate is required to keep one hand on the nozzle through the entirety of this event, and once completed successfully, the nozzle will be required to be placed in the designated area and then walk to the next stage. Stage 3, ladder raise. Here, candidates demonstrate their ability to raise and lower a mounted 24-foot extension ladder using a hand-over-hand method. If the halyard slips out of the candidate's hands more than once, said person will be disqualified and unable to finish the rest of the course. Once the ladder is lowered back into place, the candidate will walk to the next stage. Stage 4, roof walk. In this stage, candidates walk across a simulated pitched roof on a roof ladder while carrying a K-12 saw up to the white line. It is allowed to slide the K-12 along the roof when going up or down the ladder. It is required to step on every rung on the way up the ladder. However, you are allowed to skip steps on the way down if you choose. If the candidate skips steps on the way up, they may be asked to start the event from the beginning. Once the event is completed successfully and both feet touch the ground, the K-12 is required to be placed back into its designated area and walk to the next stage. Stage 5, attic crawl. Candidates will pick up a flashlight from the designated area and must crawl a distance of 20 feet across a simulated attic area while staying low and avoiding the crossbars and carrying the flashlight. Crawling on your hands and knees or a crab walk using your hands and feet will be allowed for this event. If a candidate knocks over one of the crossbars, the proctor will reset and you must start the event from the beginning. Hands and feet are not allowed to touch the ground until the event is completed. Once completed, the flashlight must be placed back in its original designated area. Once done successfully, you may walk to the next station. Stage 6, ventilation. Here you will pick up a sledgehammer from the designated area. You may stand or kneel to simulate roof ventilation by striking the roof prop 28 times using both hands on the handle and while maintaining control of the sledge. Each strike is required for the sledge to reach above your head before striking. Any strikes that do not pass above your head will not count. After successfully striking 28 times, the sledge must be placed back into its designated area and candidate may walk to the next event. Stage 7, rescue drag. Candidate must perform a rescue carry wash drag on a 165-pound simulated victim, a total of 18 feet. Dragging the dummy by the head, legs, or clothes are not allowed. Drag the dummy 9 feet one direction and around the marked area and back another 9 feet and back into the designated area. Once successfully completed and the dummy is placed in the correct designated area, proceed to walk to the next stage. Stage 8, ladder removal and carry. Candidates must remove a mounted roof ladder from the mounted hooks and carry it a total of 53 feet around the diamond-shaped area. During this event, you are only allowed to carry the ladder using a high shoulder method, a low shoulder method, or a suitcase method. The ladder must not touch the ground during the entirety of the event. Once completed, the candidate must return the ladder to its original position on the mound. After this is successfully completed, you may walk to the next event. Stage 9, search crawl. Here, the candidate must crawl on the ground around the designated marked locations for a total of 45 feet. A standard crawl using your hands and knees or a crab walk is allowed for this event. After completing the crawl and the candidate has crawled the total distance back to where you originally began, you shall stand up to walk to the next and last station. Stage 10, stair climb with hose bundle. In this final stage, candidates will pick up and carry a hose bundle up 2 flights of stairs. You may skip steps on the way up. However, every step must be touched on the way down and are not allowed to skip. Once you have crossed the marked finish line at the bottom of the steps, you may drop the hose bundle to the ground. Your time will stop once the bundle touches the ground, and you will have completed the physical agility test. Once again, the time to complete the entire course continuously is under 7 minutes and 3 seconds to be considered for hire. These 10 stages reflect the physical demands of firefighting and the commitment required to serve our community. Thank you for watching, and good luck to all future candidates.